Dear students, in my last class, Act 1, Scene 1, Episode 1, I told you about Antonio's sadness. I also told you about the fact that Antonio's friends, Salarino and Salarino, wanted to convince him that he was sad because of his merchandise. So today, let me tell you how Salarino wants to make Antonio understand that he was sad for his ships and his merchandise. In order to make him believe this, Salarino tells, "My wind cooling my broth would blow me to an ague when I thought what harm a wind too great might do at sea. I should not see the sandy hourglass run, but I should think of the shallows and of the flats, and see my wealthy Andrew docked in sand, wailing her high tops lower than her ribs to kiss her burial." That means Salarino says, my wind cooling my broth. That his wind means his breath. When he finds his breath was cooling his broth, his soup, he would fear how the dangerous, perilous winds would harm at the sea, what harm it could cause to the ships at the sea. And he would not see at that moment, he would not see the sandy hourglass run. All of you students, you have seen the sandy hourglass. You had played in your childhood days with the sandy hourglass by turning the glass which contained sand at one portion and the sand came to the other portion down. It took total 1 hour for the sand to come down. But Salarino would not be measuring time with the sandy hourglass. He would at that time think of the shallows and of the flats, means the shallow waters and the flat sandbanks where his ship could be drowned and it would just go down into the sandbanks. And his wealthy Andrew. You know what is Andrew? It is a ship, a big ship. It is the name of a big ship. And he tells that he would think that his wealthy Andrew was just going down into the shallow sandbanks and drowning into it. Its high tops coming down to its ribs and the ribs reaching till the middle part and going down and down and down, and he would think that his ship would be buried into the sea. He would think of the sides of his ships which would just go down into the sea, and it would kiss the burial. That means his ships would be totally buried into the sea, into the sandbanks of the sea. And then he also says, should I go to church and see the holy edifice of stone, and not bethink me straight of dangerous rocks, which touching my gentle vessel's sides would scatter all her spices on the stream, enrobe the roaring waters with my silk, and now in a word, but even now worth this, and now worth nothing. Shall I have the thought to think on this? Shall I lack the thought that such a thing bechanced would make me sad? But tell me not, I know Antonio is sad to think upon his merchandise. So very clearly, Salarino says that if he would go to the church and see the holy edifice of stone. What is the edifice of stone? It refers to the stone statue of Jesus Christ. He would see the holy edifice of Jesus Christ, the stone structure or the stone sculpture of Jesus Christ. And he would just think, he would not think of Christ then. He would think of the dangerous rocks. Why he would think of the dangerous rocks? Because his ships were at sea. And so he would think of the dangerous rocks. And he would think that these rocks, when they would touch his gentle vessel's side, you can think the vessels compared to the ship, the huge ship. And when in the sea there were dangerous rocks, what could happen? You can just imagine what had happened to Titanic when it struck the great iceberg You can imagine how the big ship was damaged. In the same way, Salarino says that he would think of those dangerous rocks which would touch his gentle vessel sides. His vessel was made of wood, and these rocks would touch the sides of the ship, and instantly it would scatter all the things present inside that vessel, inside the ship, big ship, but still it would be broken by those dangerous rocks, and everything, all the spices would be scattered. Why he mentions spices? Because children, during this time there was the trade relations between India and the eastern countries, from where the Europeans brought spices, and they also traded with silk. So everything, all the spices that was kept inside those vessels would be scattered into the waters of the sea, and even his silk, which was still present there, would be just floating on the roaring waters as if it was dressing the waters of the sea. And in a word, but even now what this, just now, he would think that my ship is a rich ship containing rich cargo, but now what? Nothing. Totally damaged, totally finished. Then shall I have the thought to think on this? And shall I lack the thought? Should I think of the ship? Should I think of other things? And I think that this would not make me sad. Definitely. And just truly it would really make me sad. And tell me not, Antonio, I know it very surely that you are sad because of his merchandise. It cannot be anything else. You are sad, all your ships are at sea, any danger can happen to your ships, and thus you are very, very sad. And do not tell me that you are not sad for your merchandise. You are really sad for it. On hearing Salarino's words, Antonio wants to prove that he was really not sad for his merchandise. He says, believe me, no. I thank my fortune for it. My ventures are not in one bottom trusted, not to one place, nor is my whole estate upon the fortune of the present year. Therefore, my merchandise makes me not sad. So Antonio tells him to believe that he is very thankful, he is grateful to his fortune, because all his ventures, all his business materials are not loaded in one ship. You all know Antonio was a big businessman. And naturally a big businessman like Antonio will have many ships. And naturally it is very common for us to understand that all his business materials, the cargo that was loaded in the ship, was not kept in one ship. He had several ships moving in several directions. He tells not to one place. You will later know that his ships had gone to Indies, to Mexico, to England, and to various other places, to Tripolis. And thus he tells that my ventures are not in one bottom trusted, not kept in one ship. Bottom refers to the ship, and they are not moving to one place. Nor is my whole estate. His fortune is not dependent on the present year. He does not depend on the income of the present year. He is a big businessman. He has lots of money, and he is not very much interested how to manage without the money of this year. And so he tells, my merchandise does not make me sad at all. Then Salarino tells, then you are in love. If there is nothing for which you are sad, definitely you are in love. Antonio gets excited and he tells, what are you telling? Fie! Are you ashamed? What nonsense are you speaking? Salarino then says, not in love neither. Then let us say you are sad because you are not merry, and 'twere easy for you to laugh and leap and say you are merry because you are not sad. So just it's very normal, he wants to say That means you are sad because you are not happy, just as it will be if you are merry because you are not sad. He then tells, now by the two-headed genus, nature had framed strange fellows in her time. Some that will evermore peep through their eyes and laugh like parrots at a bagpiper, and other of such vinegar aspects that they will not show their teeth in a way of smile, though nesters swear the jest be laughable. So here, Salarino mentions Janus. Who was Janus? A Roman god, which always had two faces. This god's picture was always placed above the doorways, one head facing or looking inwards and the other looking outwards. That means he wanted to mention that nature had framed people of different category. Nature never makes people, everyone is not equal. And so he wants to mention that nature has prepared or has made strange people. Some people always peep through their eyes. As if they look, they laugh so much that there are wrinkles, and as if they appear to be peeping, and they just laugh like parrots at the bagpiper. The bagpiper makes a dreary and wretched sound, and only people who are just nonsense like a parrot can laugh at these things. And other people have such vinegar aspect, bitter aspect. They have very bitter nature, and they always remain grave. They never laugh. They never show their teeth. Even if Nestor, you know who was Nestor? A Greek general who was always very solemn and reserved, and only a joke which was very, 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 very funny could make him laugh. So some people, Salarino mentions that some people are so much grave and they're so much bitter that they even never show their teeth, even if Nestor swears that the jest be laughable, the joke was really something to be laughed at. And thus he mentions people of two types of people. He actually wants to refer Antonio to be like that. He was sad because he was not happy, just as people will be happy because they are not sad. After this, Bassanio, Lorenzo and Gratiano enter the scene. Salarino and Salarino, both of them, welcome them. And they tell Antonio that all your friends, your noble kinsmen, he refers Bassanio to be as noble kinsman. Kinsman refers to relative. But here he mentions Bassanio, his friend, as his kinsman. Actually, Bassanio was so close to Antonio that Salarino refers Bassanio as his kinsman and says, here comes Bassanio, your most noble kinsman, Gratiano and Lorenzo. So farewell, we leave you in good company, better company. Antonio says that it is not. And Salarino then says that I would have stayed here and made you merry. Until you became merry, I would have stayed you. But your worthier friends, your better friends have come here, so I want to say goodbye to you. And this has prevented me from making you happy. Antonio says, your worth is very dear in my regard. I take it your own business calls on you when you embrace the occasion to depart. That means Antonio here understands Salarino and Salarino that it is their business, it is their work which is telling them to move out. And they take the situation, they take the opportunity of Bassanio's coming and entering the scene to move out of that place. And then Salarino wishes good morning to all these people who have just come, to all the friends, Bassanio, Gratiano and Lorenzo. And Bassanio also wishes them. Bassanio asks them when they will meet together, when they will laugh together, because they are becoming exceedingly strange. Why? Because they are not meeting. And Salarino tells them, tells Bassanio, okay, we will find time, we will find a leisure time to attend you. and they both move out. Salarino and Salarino both move out of the scene. Lorenzo then tells Bassanio that since he has found Antonio, then they also will depart. And at dinner time, when you see dinner time, they will meet together. And he also mentions the place where they will meet. Bassanio tells them that I will not fail you. I will remember to meet you. Cresciano then mentions or tells Antonio that you look not well. Signor Antonio, what is Signor Antonio? Mr. Antonio, you don't look well. You have too much respect upon the world. They lose it that do buy it by much care. Believe me, you are marvelously changed. That means Graciano also understands that there is something wrong with Antonio. And he tells you are not looking well, you are looking strange, you have totally changed. And he tells that you spend too much of time in worrying about worldly matters, worldly things. And the people who worry about everything in the world, who worry too much, never get happiness. They never are successful. They are never happy. So this is because you are changed. Because of this too much of thinking, too much of tension, you are totally changed. You are marvelously changed. Antonio tells, I hold the world, but as the world, Graciano, a stage where every man must play a part and mine a sad one. Thus, Antonio tells Graciano that the world is a stage where every man must play a part. Here we can understand Shakespeare is mentioning another of his play, As You Like It. In As You Like It, he had given a total portion where he writes all the world's a stage and all men and women should play their parts. Here also Antonio says a stage. That means the world is a stage where every man, when he enters into the world as a child with his birth, he plays a role and he leaves the world after his death or with his death. And here Antonio says that my role is a sad one. I am playing the role of a melancholic man. Cresciano instantly says, then let me play the role of a fool. I want to be a fool. With mirth and laughter, let all wrinkles come, and let my liver rather heat with wine than my heart cool with mortifying groans. Graciano is a person, he speaks too much. And so he tells, let me play the fool. I will laugh and I will make merriment so much that old wrinkles, when we laugh, wrinkles come in our faces. But he will let the old wrinkles come into his on his face, and he let his liver rather heat with wine. When we take wine, when anyone takes wine, his liver is heated. And wine affects the liver too much, but it heats him. And he does not want his heart cool with mortifying groans, with cries and sadness. He does not want to do that. He wants to be lively. He wants to be energetic. He wants everyone to be happy. And thus he wants to play the role of a fool. He then, in this view, and to prove that he wants to play the role of a fool, he says, why should a man whose blood is warm within sit like his grandsire cut in alabaster, sleep when he wakes, and creep into jaundice by being peevish? I tell thee what, Antonio, I love thee. 'Tis my love that speaks. There are thoughts of men whose visages do cream and mantle like a standing pool, and do willful stillness entertain, with purpose to be dressed in an opinion of wisdom, gravity, profound conceit. And who should say, I am Sir Oracle, and when I do ope my lips, let no dogs bark. So here Graciano, he wants to make Antonio understand that we are all warm-blooded human beings. He tells, why should a man whose blood is warm inside, who is lively, why should he sit like his grandsire, like his grandfather, cut in alabaster, like a stone statue, like a marble statue? Why should he sit like that? Why should he sleep when he is actually awake? And slowly creep into jaundice. You know, jaundice is a disease that makes the skin yellow. And Elizabethans, they always related jaundice with bad temper and jealousy. It is bad temper and jealousy which leads us to disease like jaundice. And he tells that, Antonio, I love you too much. And that is why I am telling you, I am speaking for you, that please do not be sad. You are only leading yourself to something that is not fit for you. And he mentions many sorts of people who play different types of roles. And he tells there are many men whose visages, means faces, the countenance, the visages that creep and mantle, that shine too much, like a standing pond. If the water is stagnant for quite a long time, the water shines a lot. And these people, they willfully stillness entertain. They keep silent. They don't speak anything. They show that they are very grave. They are respected with purpose. To be dressed in an opinion of wisdom, gravity, and profound conceit. They want to show that actually they are well-reputed people. They are people of great designation, and they willfully show that we are someone great. And they want to tell as if I am Sir Oracle. I am the voice of God. And when I speak, let no dogs bark. That means he refers to the common people. These people refer to the common people as dogs, ordinary people. When I will speak, then let no dogs bark. Nobody else will speak. I will speak only at that time when others will keep quiet. Oh my Antonio, I do know of this, that therefore are only reputed wise for saying nothing. Graciano tells that these people, I know them very well. They show that they are wise. They are known to be wise people, reputed people. Why? Because they don't speak anything. And when I am sure if they should speak, would almost damn those ears, which hearing them would call their brothers fools. I tell thee more of this another time, but fish not with this melancholy bait, for this fool Gurgian, this opinion, come good Lorenzo, very well, a while I'll end my exhortation after dinner. So, again Graciano continues and tells Antonio that these people are reputed wise because they speak nothing. But he tells that I am sure when these people will speak, that the others who will hear, their eyes will pain. They will think how rubbish or what foolish things they are speaking. And they will call these persons to be foolish. And for that they will be damned. Because the sermon says that the person who calls his brother a fool should be damned, should go to hell. And maybe they will have to go to hell for this. But still, on hearing their voices, on hearing them speak, they will say that these people are really terribly, they are rubbish, they are foolish, they are not persons supposed to be speaking anything. And then he tells Antonio that do not fish with this melancholy bait. Do not remain melancholy. It will only give you unhappiness. It will just, you are showing you are reputed, but this is, you are just feeling, you are behaving like a silly little fish. It's worth nothing. And thus he tells Lorenzo, come Lorenzo, let us go, farewell, goodbye. And thus I'll end my exhortations after dinner. Whatever I want to say, my sermon, my lecture, I will talk to you after my dinner. Lorenzo says, well, we will leave you then till dinner time. I must be one of the same dumb wise men, for Gratiano never lets me speak. Gratiano speaks so much that I don't get any time to speak, and naturally I will be like those dumb fellows who never speak. And then Gratiano, just to make it more interesting, to make Antonio laugh, he tells, well, keep my company but 2 more years. Thou shalt not know the sound of thine own tongue. So Gratiano tells, if you keep quiet, if you remain with me, if you be in my company for 2 more years, then you will never be allowed to speak, and a time will come that you will not know the sound of your own tongue. You will not remember your voice. You will not be able to recognize your own voice. Antonio says goodbye to both of them and say, okay, I will grow a talker for this year. You are just because speaking nonsense. I will also start talking because of you. Gratiano then thanks him, for he tells silence is only commendable in a neat's tongue dried. What is neat? An ox. So silence is only found, silence should be there in only a dead ox's tongue, which is dried, and only that tongue will not be able to speak. Other people who are living must speak. And then he moves out. Gratiano and Lorenzo, both of them move out. Bassanio stays there with Antonio. Thank you, students. Thank you. Watch it very nicely. This will help you to study properly, to understand the topic nicely. And I told you before, read the book thoroughly. And if you read it, and if you see this video, and if you just follow it properly, you can surely understand Shakespeare's Merchant of Venice properly. Thank you.